Okay, so just tell me, how did you come up with the idea of Longneck Manor? Is this like a lifelong dream?
Not lifelong, but I've been working in zoos all my professional career, so that's over 50 years.
Yeah.
And towards the second half, when I was more of a director and executive, I used to give a lot of tours, but the VIP tours, the high-end donors, the celebrities, and we take them behind the scenes. And those tours always got the best reactions, they had the best impact. So I got to thinking, wow, imagine if we had a facility where we just did that. Like the back of house was the front of house. So everything was open and it was much more interesting. And then I thought about what species would resonate the best with the public. Everybody loves giraffes. It's like a spirit animal for so many people. Out here, it's amazing how many people have giraffe tattoos or just love giraffes. Rhinos win them over later, but they really like giraffes. And I knew those two species, if they're born in a zoo, are very, very tractable. You know, you still have to have barriers between you, but you can feed them, you can touch them in many cases safely. So, you know, that's how I came up with it. People say I've been talking about it for 25 years, and I guess so.
Tell us about your career.
How I got started with animals?
Yeah, I mean, did you get started with animals when you were little, or when did? Yeah.
I wasn't the kid that would like collect bugs and just go out and be fascinated with animals. I just liked them. I think it was some of those field trips in elementary school, though, because I was in New York. So we went to the Bronx Zoo, a great zoo. We went to the American Museum of Natural History, which was incredible too. Those things influenced me. And then as I took other classes, I liked biology. Biology was my favorite subject. It wasn't my best subject, but it was the most challenging. So and then I just kind of, you know, gravitated towards animals. And when I was in school, they would ask you, the guidance counselor in 7th grade would say, Ricky, because I was Ricky back then, Ricky, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I go, I don't know, I like animals. Oh, you want to be a veterinarian? All right, so then I worked with veterinarians. I went to Cornell. I applied to vet school. I didn't get in. I got an interview, and I said, well, maybe I can do something else. You know, I don't need to be a veterinarian. And then I went to Africa when I was 21 years old, and that changed everything. That cemented it. I knew then that I was going to work with animals. I like people, but I like animals almost more.
Okay, so that first trip to Africa changed everything. What happened after that?
Then I came back from Africa, and well, I had worked in a safari park just before I went to Africa, but after Africa I came back, and I had a letter of reference from Joy Adamson, who was the author of Born Free. I met her over there, and I had a couple of references, and I then went to grad school and for a PhD. After 2 years, I figured that was enough, and I got a master's, and I got out. So I have a master's in zoology, and which didn't really qualify me for working in a zoo, but it helps. No, degrees, working with large mammals, really you've got to work with them hands-on. The degrees help with research and writing and things like that, but to be around them, you just have to learn how to do that. Nothing in a classroom can teach you how to work with a rhino, when you can, you know, get how close you can get to it, when you should talk to it, when you should back off. Those things just take time, and every animal's different. So, but I think combined, degree is important. It got me to the San Diego Zoo, which was a keeper job back in, you know, that was one of my first big zoo jobs. And then I got a break and went to Miami as a supervisor, curator, they called it. And then I came back to San Diego. They called me back as a curator. And then I went to Disney. And Disney was an incredible facility. And I was on the ground floor. We were just talking about building this incredible theme park. They don't like to call it a zoo, the Animal Kingdom, but it is. It's a fancy zoo. And we started planning it, and building it. And then I knew I had more of for an animal guy, I had a creative mind, because I like to do things that I planned for the future. I could see where we needed to go. The steps to get there, I needed some help with, you know, more of the analytical minds. I learned a lot about myself at Disney. You know, that was like a 10-year experience. And then I took the job at the Houston Zoo back in 2000, spent 15 years there. as the director, and we privatized the zoo, which means it was a city-run zoo, and we got it to be run by a nonprofit, and that zoo really exploded. And then after me, the next guy, a friend of mine, took it to another level. Now the Houston Zoo is in the top 5 zoos in the country, and most people will say that. And then I came here about 9 years ago.
You mean you came here, you started this?
Yeah,
You mean you came to the Hill Country?
Well, we had been coming to when I was in Houston in 2000, we kept coming up here because my significant other, my partner Diane, her father lived up here. And she was very close to her dad. He was a great guy. And so we come visit him, and I got to know Fredericksburg because it was a 4-hour drive from Houston. And I kept watching it, and then we bought property up here as an investment, this property. And then we were going to sell it because the real estate market was really good. And I looked at Diane and said, let's not sell this one. I'll buy your share out, because we kind of shared it. And I think I'm going to do this giraffe rhino thing. And that was almost 20 years ago. And then when I retired from the Houston Zoo, I built my house. Then I built the barn. Then the barn went crazy with it went viral. That's a whole nother story. And then we decided, okay, if it's doing so well, let's build some villas, which we're sitting in right now. And now we have villas. I don't want to get too big. That's the problem. I think the premise here is to do this concierge level experience where you're personally interacting with every guest. Because what I've learned is that you can have the greatest animal experience, but if you have a guide or an interpreter, like when I go to Africa, the guide makes all the difference on a safari. Well, the person giving you the tour makes a big difference on how the tour goes. They're always impressed with the animals, but they even more impressed with the passion, the commitment, the intelligence, the information that our staff gives. So I was lucky enough to learn that it's all about people. Even though you want to save animals, you got to start with people.
I know you say you don't want it to get very big, but do you see what the next chapter?
Yeah, I look at Longneck Manor as 3 phases or chapters, and 2 are done. The first was, the house and the barn and getting the rhinos and giraffes. The second was the villas and the welcome center. The third part is to build some more animal facilities so we can breed rhinos, a beautiful rhino barn, a facility to hold some other what I call ambassador animals, small mammals. And then my favorite animal in the whole animal kingdom is called the okapi, O-K-A-P-I. Most people don't know what it is. It has a head like a giraffe, and it's got stripes like a zebra in the back, but it's a forest giraffe. Very primitive animal that was only discovered in 1901 because it's very elusive, secretive in the central Africa. One country, used to be called Belgian Congo, Zaire, now it's the DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo. I've had a lot of adventures with okapis over there. I've spent a lot of time with animals there, bringing some back, and it's a very special animal. And that would be my swan song. I want to leave with an okapi exhibit. We have a huge area still left. We have 102 acres here. About 60 acres of that is heavy forest, and the okapi is going to be in that forest area. We're going to also have a forest lodge in there, so we'll have one more overnight experience, and that one's going to be that one will be the most impressive, I think. It's another animal that you can get very close to. They're not flighty once they're born in zoos, and we'll do a few other things. I'd like the facility itself to also reach out to the conservation community and be like a conservation think tank, and we'll invite researchers here and other wildlife experts to give, again, small, personalized presentations here, not huge lectures, but touching people, again, in the quality of the experience, not the quantity. We're not looking for volume here, we're just looking to maximum impact.